Hello everyone, welcome back to This Would Have Helped Me. Today I'll show you my creative process behind the 1000-bit soundtrack. So the very first track that I actually made here was While One, and this was based on the idea of just one repeating note throughout the whole piece. That's basically what I did. Triangle wave repeats this one note all the time, and it just changes over here. Because this is like a special case, like a shorter version of a pattern over here. In the noise, I just have some random blips in the background. Here I use the V effect to kind of change it to a more metallic sound. Over here, instead of the usual like shh, it's a more zzz. Yeah, my musical talent is astounding. And that's basically what I do here. And here I start to introduce some very basic like instrument juggling. I have this fading in and fading out noise thing in the background. As you can see, I replay this sound at a lower volume. And then here I introduce this pulse instrument where it plays these sort of echoing blips. You can see that I just decrease the volume over time. Then I repeat that. Then I have this shorter segment which is meant to lead into the beat drop. And here I actually use the kick, snare, and hat instruments, which I basically make for every piece that I make. Kick is basically just, I don't know why I made this. Kick is basically just volume very high and it decreases very fast and then sustained. Snare is identical, but the arpeggio goes slightly up. Sometimes I make it to go down, sometimes up. I don't know which is better. And then the hat is basically like the kick, but it lingers for longer. This one actually doesn't, but usually I just make it like linger longer and yeah. And then for the kicks I use 0, for snares I use 8, and for hats I use B. Then here I do a bit of instrument juggling with this like crash cymbal over here. As I play these other percussion instruments over it, whenever there's a D, then the cymbal fades back in, and then with the pulse, the 2 pulse waves, I make an echo effect, which is something I used a lot. I used basically in almost every single piece, because I think this feeds into the atmosphere of the game, and also it sounds really cool. Basically, I delay this entire thing by 2 beats, and had half the volume. So the general structure that I use is just in this case it was a drone, but usually I just include a simpler version of the melody a few times, then the beat drop, and then the main melody. Then I play a secondary melody, which is, I think, yeah, over here. No, not this one, sorry. This is the secondary melody, I think. Yeah. And then here I have this arpeggio which I added. This was actually inspired by Mr. Ben, how's he called? Ben something. Abstraction Music's Save the City from his 3 Red Hearts album. From his video about his creative process. I just got inspired and I made like an arpeggio. That just plays in the background here. And then here I once again use Yes. Then I reuse the blips from the beginning, because generally I just like combining things that are used previously with other things just to see what kind of musical effect it would have. And I strongly suggest that you do this as well, because you might end up with something really cool that you wouldn't have come across otherwise. Then here I tone it down a bit. And here I actually reverse the echoing effect. I'm not sure exactly why I did this. And then I once again start out with these. No, these are new blips. These aren't the same as in the beginning. Above it. Once again, the secondary melody and the arpeggio. Another beat drop. And once again the bass melody. Then I have a tertiary melody, which I don't actually usually do. Once again the arpeggio. Then once again those blips. And then with these arpeggios I gradually fade out the percussion. And then finally a slightly different version of these. Keyboard start is actually quite similar. I just use the DPCM channel for keyboard samples. I basically wanted to play around with the idea to use these keyboard sounds as a replacement of the percussion. And then I played a melody over that. I actually invented this melody, and when I was singing it to myself, I thought it sounded really like a construction zone for some reason. I highly recommend that you, when you invent a melody, you just sing it to yourself, for example, in the shower, and then you might think that it sounds better, like if you make some notes longer or louder than others. This happened, I think, with F0 F1, that originally they're meant to be like short blips, like in while one, they're just supposed to be do. But when I sing it to myself, then I thought it sounded much better if they were longer. Going back to keyboard start over here. After the beat drop, I just liked the melody sounded like this keyboard, like this construction site, and it kind of combined with this idea of the keyboard percussion. Then I think this is a secondary theme. Yeah. Secondary theme, which is what I usually do. I usually just play the first theme twice, then the secondary theme twice, then I do some kind of ambient blips thing. And actually I use the noise here also for percussion, but in like a secondary level, and I really like how I use it here, just these sort of pick like things on the second and fourth, the second and fourth. Then there's another beat drop. Then I repeat this theme 4 times this time, and then the secondary theme also 4 times. Then an unusual thing, I actually do a beat drop to like the ending. And then I reuse these blips. No, yeah, I basically reuse these blips. Then I fade it out, and I end with this sort of semi-random keyboard thing. And yeah, for out-in, the theme, wait, let me remind myself. For this one, I thought it would sound much better if it was just this slow-paced and kind of factory-like sound. If it didn't have any, if it was like twice as slow. So that's kind of what I did. And here I actually introduced the percussion pattern before the melody. And here the basic melody is actually very similar to the actual melody. And this I think is probably my favorite part of the whole song, even though it's not in any of the beat drops, because I made all these effects in the pulse. They just sound so good. I don't know why. And then here I just did another sick glide upwards, leading into the melody. Just played it twice, even though it seems like it's played only once. No, it's actually played 4 times in slightly different versions, and this is actually very similar to the keyboard start. And here I use the V effect to, I don't know how to describe it. I just mute these two. If you play these two, then you can hear that this one has a slightly more kind of tanky feel to it. It sounded better than just having both play the same instrument and just quieter. Then I hear some blips. No, this is actually the instrument that I played over here with the triangle wave, which I think is, yeah, it's simply an arpeggio of an octave. And then I replayed that with the square wave. I found that doubling a melody is quite effective, actually. It certainly does make things much more catchier and like basically chiptune like. Because back in the old days, you could only really rely on the melody, and not really on instruments or like the feel or ambience or anything like that. You can only rely on the actual melodies, so you have to make them catchy. And here actually we use the simple theme, just in a different instrument. And here I double it, notifier, and then another beat. And here it's a bit different. This is similar to if 0 LF1, the beat drops there. This is basically the same, except right now it's only played twice apparently, and this is played 4 times, except eventually this triangle wave just changes. And then you just kind of play around with the different samples until it ends with the noise wave loop. For raise I0 in, there's one thing that I point out, which is over here. I accidentally left automatic portamento on, and I found that it sounded really cool. I talked about this in the original FamiTracker tutorial. Be sure to experiment a lot with your chiptune tracks, because that will really help them. F0 LF1, here I talked about the beat drops over here. If you just gradually fade in chords, that could also sound quite well. And also here I for the noise waves I made them fade in and then gradually stop, and then abruptly stop. Same I used in this track. This, for some reason, sounds really creepy. Probably because it sounds like it's reversed. Because usually when you play a sound, then it just has an impact and then it fades out gradually. But here it fades in gradually and then very quickly stops, and that makes it sound creepy. And this is kind of the effect that I wanted for break 1-0 and if 0 Elf1, because these two were meant to be in the bonus levels. That's why I used these. I basically used the harmonics minors. And for both of them, I kind of based them sort of off of kernel panic from 6-Years Computer Host. And did I want to say anything over here? Right here, I just used this sort of deep bass with the 2D noise that I showed you. And it just sounds kind of like a secondary, and it creates this really, I guess, creepy but also like menacing background or like sound. And yeah, that's basically it. That's my creative process in a nutshell. Thank you for watching another episode of This Would Have Helped Me. I'm currently developing a binary programming game called 1000-bit. If you enjoyed this episode of This Would Have Helped Me, then I'd really appreciate it if you joined the Discord in the description.